I'm sorry. So your question, the need for goaltending, obviously, for us, you want to have as much strength as you can in the goaltending, position. We kind of talk about it in the room there on free agency day. It's the goalie carousel, and you just don't know where it falls, where it stops. So you make a couple of decisions, but some guys are left, maybe in situations where you didn't think there was going to be an opportunity. So we thought that having a competition for the backup is a healthy thing for the organization.
I was going to get around with the Nate Schmidt thing.
Yeah, sorry.
But no, that's fine. No,
Yeah.
but to ask, I'm guessing he was bought out,
Yes.
so you could clear cap space.
Yes.
I don't know if that was aimed towards today or not. So would you
I think
paraphrase today
it gives
as
us the flexibility. I guess they always talk about the different levers that you have, in the cap world, and at different points in time you can use them. And we felt that it was just important to have that cap space available, whether it's for now, whether it's for later, whatever that situation might be, and you make those decisions, and you see what's available in front of you.
So was it frustrating a day? Was it a frustrating?
Well, again, free agency it's an interesting time. I just glanced at the TV screen a couple of times there, and I think there's over $1 billion of contracts out there today. Obviously, you saw the cap rise. You saw a couple of teams that traditionally weren't spending teams are now spending teams, and I think that there was an influx of money into the system, and certainly you saw a lot of term handed out, where in years past maybe those terms were in the 3 to 4 year range. I think you saw a lot of 7s and 8s and 6s and different things like that. So that's the nature of free agency in the National Hockey League at this point in time.
Was the barrier with Sean Monahan the extra year for you guys, or what kind of?
Yeah, no, we were right there with Sean. We were right there with Brendan Dillon. Again, we thank them for their contributions to the organization, and when you get to free agency, you get that opportunity to make your own decisions. But financially, it was both were very competitive offers, and again, I think again, the opportunities for our organization are not so much with those two players moving, but it's with us having an opportunity for people in our organization to grow. If you look at the forward group that we have at the current time, and again, there are further discussions ongoing, and I think one thing about free agency is it doesn't just stop on free agency day. I think once the dust settles, you go through the different teams, and you may find some needs for trades or different things of the like in some organizations. So we'll take a look at all that. But if I'm a young player in the Jets organization today, I'm pretty excited about the opportunities that are in front of me, and I'm working pretty hard in the off season to make sure I take full advantage.
For your 2C job, then, I mean, is there an opportunity there for Brad Lambert or Cole Perfetti or even Gabe Vilardi to?
Well,
yeah. Look for a
again, I wouldn't. I'm not anointing anybody. The 2C opportunity. I think for us, there's we're sitting here July 1. There's a little ways from training camp. There's lots of different thought processes that that'll certainly take a look at. But again, there's been capable people that have stepped up in our organization, and we expect them to step up again.
Kevin, further to opportunities for young people in the organization, with the trickle-down effect with the 2C, how would this potentially change Rutger's situation, like as far as an opportunity potentially created for him?
Yeah, so again, I'm not going to go down the Rutger path here right now. I don't have enough really information to give you an update.
As far as your defense is concerned, when you talk about, losing two veteran defensemen, and you talk about young D getting an opportunity, like, is that essentially a commitment for like Ville Heinola or Elias Salomonsson to earn jobs?
Well, I think it's an opportunity. Again, everybody has to earn their right to play in the National Hockey League, and that's what the league is certainly all about. For us, again, don't think that sitting here today, this is, where we're going to be at. We've got a few things on the go. Obviously, I took some time to come here. My phone's been buzzing a few times since, in my pocket since I got here. So, there's always going to be moving parts from now till, training camp and beyond.
You can check it if you want. Obviously, you mentioned Nate and Brandon, two, good hockey players, but also good people, great character guys, and that. You guys are coming off a season. You won the Jennings as the best defensive team. So, I guess, how do you strike that balance between trying to integrate some of that youth, but also the inexperience that comes with that, and not wanting to miss a beat? I assume. Well,
again, that's that's obviously the opportunity that lies in front of us. I think that's, the exciting part, about the game. One thing is that, every year a player, does get older, does mature, whether it's a young guy maturing into a role or a veteran player that, has, another year in the league. I think for us, it goes back to, as an organization, playing the right way, and it's going to be incumbent upon, everybody to learn that right way. But that's that, if you want to try to move forward in this league, you have to, take different opportunities that are in front of you, whether you're a team or whether you're, again, a player. It's about seizing that moment, and everybody talks about wanting more, and so now it's, this is the opportunity for some of them to get that.
You mentioned the over $1 billion. I think just the first hour alone, it was close to $800 million.
Shocking, just opened up at 12:01, eh?
Right, you've been in the game a long time. I mean, and you maybe had a sense of, but would you say that were you even surprised at the flurry, especially in that first hour?
Well, again, we were shopping in some markets, we weren't shopping in all markets. Again, and there's you hear rumblings of different things that may or may not be going on. So I guess you just categorize it as nothing surprises you in this league.
You had one of the youngest groups in the AHL last year. From your perspective, and I think 11 of the players were Jets drafted prospects.
Yep.
What kind of growth did you see in that group from the beginning of the year to the end?
Well, so again, you look at the stretch of time there where they had some adversity and they lost a bunch of games in a row. And people can look at that and say, well, that wasn't a good thing. But, adversity is where you really learn and where you grow. And so I tend to look at how they scratched and clawed and got their way back, into a playoff spot and were really competitive down the stretch. Those are the things that you learn from. And when it's, Brad Lambert or Chibrikov, or unfortunately Zhilkin was hurt, or, Bauer, and, all those guys that get the opportunity to go over the boards on a regular basis, I think that's important. You need to grow. Like, we've seen tremendous improvement over the year in a Simon Lundmark, and that's what you do. You try to develop the young players at the American Hockey League level to get them to the point where they force you to make some decisions, whether it's at training camp or whether it's throughout the year. But I think the Moose have done a tremendous job in developing young players since we've started.
I know you're saying you're not going to anoint one goaltender to be the backup and one will potentially be down with the Moose, but if it is Eric Comrie, who's obviously got a lot of familiarity, what do you think he can do in terms of growing Thomas Milic's game and being a benefit to him?
Well, again, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's one or the other, but one thing that we we do know is that obviously Eric is just an outstanding person and an extreme competitor, so I wouldn't count him out for anything. But we've also heard the same thing about Kahkonen. It's good when you have good people in an organization that are going to push, and again, the organization benefits from that.
Kevin, we hear from fans all day. You see Nashville splurging on Stamkos, Markus O'Shea, Chicago going, even Utah at the draft and all that. What do you think when you see those and the strengthening that's happening around you in the center?
Well, I think, again, if you look at the processes that some of those teams, have gone through or talked about going through. Certainly, some of them look like they're pivoting now and going into different directions. Whether they've had cap space or whatever their own individual situations are. From that standpoint, they were able to do some things in the marketplace today, and again, free agency is an interesting time, that's for sure. And I can guarantee you, because I've been on the other side. As exhilarating as it can be to maybe make some of those deals, sometimes when you wake up the next morning, you kind of wonder, what did I just do?
Just on your RFAs, did the qualifying offers the other day. Do you expect, and I won't get you to go through everyone, but is that a process? These things can sometimes drag out a bit right through the summer.
Some of them, like a couple, whether, Logan and Gus, they both have arbitration rights, so we don't know whether they'll file or not. If they do, then there's a kind of a definitive time frame when those things happen. The RFA ones in different circumstances, can take on, different nuances as we have seen. But, we'll just work at it, continue to work at it, and go from there.
I just wanted to expand on, you had mentioned about where you sit today. Of course, training camp's still months away. Just want to check, nothing's changed organizationally, right? You've been on the record saying, Mark Chipman's been on the record, that this is a team that is prepared to spend close to the cap, and you have for many, many years. So as you sit here today, you see maybe a bunch of cap space, obviously RFAs.
Yeah, so, again, I don't think it would have changed, if we obviously we bought out Nate Schmidt today for that sole purpose, to have that ability to add different pieces or do different things. And again, whether that's now or whether, that's deadline time or, whenever, sometimes you have to make those hard decisions in order to, spread your wings. And, again, twofold, obviously the cap space and the availability of that. But Nate's a pro, and Nate has been, the consummate pro with us. And he went, when we were scratching him last year for different opportunities, that was tough. And again, we've internally we've made some decisions, that we're going in some different directions in some of those regards. Remains to be seen if those opportunities get taken up.
And just housekeeping for development
Sure.
camp. I know Garrett Brown, I believe it was commitments to school that prevented him from coming last year.
Yes.
He was injured.
Yes.
He still comes
I
to
believe he is coming. I think his name is on the list there. I believe he is coming. And again, the injury will probably keep him off the ice. And yes, it was school commitments. I think Chibrikov, I'm not sure. I don't think he'll be able to make it because he's got school commitments. It's kind of a thing over in Russia there. I think from a again, I don't quite understand it, but he needs to go to school, and I don't think he'll be here as well. But Garrett should be.
and Loponen, is he going to be able to make it from time?
I believe, I haven't seen travel schedules, but I haven't heard anything to the contrary.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.